What's good, what's good, what's good? It's your boy, Timeless, Tenacious, Mr. Still, yo girl. Anyway, with that being said, man, we're about to react to this video titled 10 Dark Theories That Will Ruin Your Childhood. Now let's get into it. This video is made by WatchMojo. I've seen a few of her videos, so I thought she was a good source to go to concerning these kind of topics. So I'm gonna be doing this. It's kind of becoming like the premise of my channel, and I'm gonna kind of just run with it. All right, let's get to it.
Some fabulous new friends, and you know what I like to do when I make new friends?
What do you like to do, buddy?
The first comic strip, The Black Smurfs, was intimately concerned with what you might classify as a racial threat.
The Black Smurfs.
For this list, we'll be looking at some of the most disturbing fan theories about your beloved childhood TV shows and films. You'll probably think vastly different about them by the end. What's the darkest TV episode you remember from your childhood?
See, I've heard about the Rugrats theory, and that like all the babies besides Angelica are dead, and Angelica's like envisioning these things, or like it's in her head, and some crazy conspiracy. But let's keep going.
Let us know below. Number 10, Nuclear Sponge, SpongeBob SquarePants. When you ponder about old SpongeBob and his pals, nuclear annihilation isn't the first thing that comes to mind.
A bomb? In a Krusty Krab!
But according to a popular theory, it should be. In real life, the US tested nuclear weapons in the 1940s into the 50s in Bikini Atoll, near the Marshall Islands.
That's a little strange, don't you think?
The show confirmed that the fictional Bikini Bottom is below the real Bikini Atoll.
That's pretty strange. You can't say it's not.
Bikini Bottom!
Some fans believe the characters are a result of the radiation caused by the nuclear fallout from testing explosions.
Oh no. It's crazy because the conspiracies surrounding SpongeBob obviously is more than one. Like I was hearing that like SpongeBob was technically supposed to be an adult show, and that SpongeBob was supposed to be a gay character, and Patrick was supposed to be his partner, and all these different things, you know what I'm saying? Then obviously you're hearing about this too, so it's just like, yeah, SpongeBob has been one of those shows that have been surrounded by conspiracy since the start of it.
This would go great with some milk. Whoop.
After years of the mutations taking effect, the sea creatures began to develop the ability to talk and be quirky, lovable characters. We should probably expect them to appear in a future X-Men film.
Let's eat!
And you see how like they try to make it like so like fun, happy-go-lucky type, you know what I'm saying, vibe, but really like this is real shit. Like, and you see SpongeBob was so like in a way ahead of its time, and so like over everyone's head in the sense of like when they did things like this, even though they were underwater, they would kind of show like real life like examples of an explosion like this, for example, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of wild to think about like these things actually took place, and there's a place called Bikini, so it was kind of just wild to think about.
Number 9, Bugging Out, The Emperor's
This was a funny show, I ain't gonna lie.
New Groove. Imagine one day, as a human, you're suddenly turned into a creature, but then no one comes to your rescue and you have to experience all the horrors that Mother Nature provides. Fun, right?
Yes, Krunk. Riveting.
Well, this could be the case in The Emperor's New Groove. As we see in this world, only humans who are transformed into creatures can talk, like Cusco.
Can you turn me into a llama?
What? No, I did not.
When he's in his llama form.
Low-key, the movie was actually pretty good, I ain't gonna lie. Now obviously, like, I'm a believer in Christ, I'm a believer in the Lord, so obviously I didn't really necessarily, as I grew up and realized kind of what the show was about, I didn't necessarily rock with like the potions, the magic kind of, you know, vibe of it, you know what I'm saying, because that's not, you know, what I believe in and all that kind of stuff like that. But in the entirety of it, it was one of those shows and a movie at one point that I watched throughout my childhood for sure.
When traversing the spooky jungle alone, we hear a cry for help that sounds like it's coming from a human, only it's actually coming from a helpless fly caught in a web. It's It's then quickly eaten by a terrifying spider.
Okay, that was the freakiest thing I've ever seen.
This might mean this fly was a human since it was screaming for help, which is, if true, pretty horrifying.
Anything sounds bad when you say with that attitude.
Number 8, Great Depression. Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo was also a good show. You already know, Scooby-Doo was literally surrounded with conspiracies inside the show. Of course, the show itself will have conspiracies outside of it, you know what I'm saying?
Where are you?
I'm Jamie Cragmore, Miss Aggie's chief of staff. She be
Obsessed with cash.
Like there must be $1 million in there.
So that's it. Those creeps were after this money.
The universe is experiencing the effects of a great financial depression.
Huh?
After all, the villain has often been a celebrity or some clothes. Cops aren't exactly present all the time either, which could be explained by budget cuts to public services.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, though, like, this show is one of those shows that, like, I'm not surprised if there's some crazy controversial conspiracy tied into this show. For the making of the show, even the person who created the show themselves came up with, like, some type of idea, you know what I'm saying, to align with the show itself. But let's keep going.
Huh. Sort of makes you feel bad for the so-called villains.
Scooby found the first clue, a scrap of paper that Jamie neglected to burn.
Number 7, Personal Delivery. Postman Pat.
I never watched this.
Officially, Postman Pat.
Whoa, that lasted from... That started 1981 to 2017. Whoa. It's a long time.
Pat has only one child in the form of Julian Clifton.
Can I have that apple, Julian?
I mean, that's not necessarily the longest show to ever, you know, run. Like, you know, you got shows like The Simpsons that started in the 70s, and I'm pretty sure it's still going to this day. So, but I'm just saying, like, shows like that last that long, you gotta wonder, like, how are they able to last this long, man?
But what if he was delivering his package to many more households than just his own? Take a look at whenever a group of kids appears on the screen.
Morning, Mrs. Goggins.
Yay! Hello, Mrs. Goggins!
Several of them look a lot more like the dependable Posty than their apparent parents. In fact, they often possess ginger hair or an oblong face. Even some kids have the same spectacle fashion as Pat.
What you got on your face?
Which seems suspicious.
Oh, it's paint.
Well, the children are painting on
Yeah, it's paint.
the platform.
In the early series, school teacher Jeff Pringle had a son called Charlie who looks far more like possibly promiscuous Pat than he does Jeff. Maybe that's why the teacher hasn't been on the show in a long time. He realized Charlie's true lineage and took off.
Well, I'd better get on with my rounds. Cheerio, everyone.
Number 6, Sun Searching. Finding Nemo.
Just think in a couple of days, we're gonna be parents.
One of the most heartbreaking opening scenes in an animated kids film is from Finding Nemo, with the Barracuda attack. The fish eats all the eggs of marlin and coral and seemingly consumes the latter too. However, one egg survives to become Nemo, who eventually gets into shenanigans. But what if we're actually watching is the PTSD delusion of a heartbroken father because no one actually survived the attack?
Whoa, hold on, wait to cross. Hold my fin.
After all, we witness Marlin go through the stages of grief in the film, such as denial when it came to Nemo going to school,
Yeah, Nemo was a good movie too.
anger when Nemo disobeys him, and so on.
Bye, Nemo! Bye, son!
Finally, the word Nemo in Old Latin translates as no man, no one or nobody, which is pretty spooky.
This is some kind of practical joke. It's not funny, and I know funny. I'm a clownfish.
Number 5, Counting Casualties. Sesame Street. In math, you can't go wrong by studying under the learning tree of Count Von Count from Sesame Street.
4 beautiful bats. The number of the day is 4.
But be warned, never ever visit the counting vampire puppet in person. Otherwise, it might be the last thing you ever do. Think about it. Whenever a kid appears on the show, they're never around for long, and the theory is that the Count is secretly eating them.
Oh, what the?
I count you, that's when I get to know you.
The other puppets and adult humans are either turning a blind eye to what he's doing or under his thrall, forced to please their master by offering him new victims. Perhaps teaching the kids addition makes them extra tasty. Make sure to take a load of garlic with you if you're ever on the show, just in case, especially if you're young or appear to look very young.
1, 2, free!
Number 4, Roadrunner's Revenge.
No, that's a little spooky. I ain't gonna cat. That nigga was always a weirdo. I ain't gonna cat. The Dracula, you know what I'm saying, vampire nigga, like that nigga was always a little weirdo. I ain't gonna cat, like, you know what I'm saying.
The Looney Tunes franchise. If there's anything certain in life, it's taxes and the failure of Wile E. Coyote catching the Roadrunner on Looney Tunes.
Low-key, this to me was like the original Tom and Jerry. Low-key, I ain't gonna lie. But this was honestly one of the funnier ones. I ain't gonna lie, I like this show too.
Even though Coyote has made hundreds of schemes, he never seems to get his prize, which is pretty strange. You'd expect one of them to work on the law of averages alone. But that could be because Wile E. Coyote isn't in the natural world. He's in hell. After all, he's clearly stuck in a sandy, dry, hot landscape. He then has his temptation, the Roadrunner, constantly escaping. And he's mocked for his attempts over and over again, tormented with pleasures just out of his reach in a location similar to hell. Number 3, Angelica's Vivid Imagination, Rugrats. Oh boy, this one's rough.
This is gonna be great.
See her vivid imagination.
This idea proposes that the main Rugrats babies are all figments of Angelica's imagination. After all, she's an only child with workaholic parents.
The only reason I'm not at this meeting is that it's bad.
I guess that would make sense too. She has to obviously formulate some idea of like friendship and, you know, her childhood in a sense.
Passover, and I have to pass over, Your Highness. It's a Jewish holiday.
So, lacking attention, she's left to her mind, which takes a very dark turn. Firstly, Chucky and his mother perished, which is why Chaz has horrendous anxiety. Phil and Lil DeVille were actually aborted by their parents.
Crazy.
Since Angelica didn't know what the baby was going to be, she created twins. And Tommy was stillborn, resulting in Stu being in denial as he makes toys in the basement over and over again.
It's me, Angelica, the famous ballerina dancer.
Not right now, Angelica. I gotta finish this hippocopter.
With the dream of having a large family, Angelica invented all these kids to process the trauma of lost friends and cope with everything. Yikes. Horrific. Number 2,
That's kind of crazy, I ain't gonna lie.
Dream 'em all, Pokemon. For 25 years, Ash Ketchum has been 10 years old, which is bonkers. In that time, he's traveled to many regions, met numerous creatures, and had the adventure of several lifetimes.
Venipede's hurt. Can you please...
No! He's been poisoned!
But still, he never ages. Why? Well, this popular theory for the Pokemon anime is that Ash has been in a coma since his first outing. After getting his trusty Pikachu and taking on a swarm of Spearows, the electric rodent releases a thunderbolt to save them both. But it also plunges Ash into a long-term nap.
That's crazy. That's crazy to think about. Imagine all of those like missions, you know what I'm saying, that he went on with Pikachu, and all those battles and duels he had were literally just like something that, you know, he just conjured up in his coma, bro. That'd be crazy. Like, these are kind of theories that like most people won't even like think of. And when you like, you know what I'm saying, come to like terms with it, if it's true, of course, it's kind of wild to me. It's kind of wild in general, you know what I'm saying? Most people would agree.
Everything that happens after this is all in his mind.
Yeah,
I thought this was the Pokemon gym, Pikachu.
It also explains why Ash has met so many legendary and mythical Pokemon when researchers that have spent decades searching for them have had no luck.
What's that?
Yeah, that makes sense too. That makes sense as well. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's a wild one, I ain't gonna lie, low key, because Pokemon was one of those shows that lasted a long time. You know what I'm saying? And a lot happened in that show. So, yeah, that's actually kind of crazy to think about.
There is no data. There are still Pokemon yet to be identified.
Number 1, racist Smurfs. The Smurf.
Racist Smurfs? First there was black Smurfs, now there's racist ones?
Franchise. Today, the Smurfs are seen as peculiar little blue folk with a simple society that most commonly names each Smurf based on one prominent characteristic.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dreamy. Happy birthday to you.
But what if their existence is just a racist allegory? Not quite as fun.
And when they become black, they lose all trace of intelligence.
When they become black, they lose all traits of intelligence. Whoa, the disrespect. Nigga, excuse me? Why was black the color that they have to lose all traits of intelligence? Like, whoa, excuse me. I'm offended. I'm offended. Why couldn't it have been yellow? Or orange? Or purple? Or gray? Or brown? Well, brown could also be indicated as racist, but you know what I'm trying to say, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, golly!
Become completely moronic, and furthermore, they can no longer speak.
In the original comic,
they can't even speak. That's tragic.
Strip, one story features the Smurfs being bitten by a buzzfly.
Ow! Ow!
It turns their skin black, making them angry and vastly reducing their intelligence. They plan to bite other Smurfs to infect them. After the Smurfs find a cure, Jokey Smurf makes himself look like one of the infected for laughs.
He bit me, and I feel...
The story was adapted for the 80s cartoon, but with purple skin instead of black.
Ugh, stanky.
Black, likely to avoid the racist overtones. There's also been an accusation.
Yeah, because that's pretty racist. They definitely had to avoid those racist overtones. Like, come on, you can't even say that's not a racist theme, nigga. That's a little wild, low-key, to put in a cartoon at that, like.
That the villain Gargamel is nothing more than an anti-Semitic caricature.
There they are again, Asriel. Don't
Of course, we got more anti-Semitics out
they
here.
look good enough to eat?
Did you enjoy this?
Good enough to eat is crazy. But hey, man, thank you guys for watching, man. So I'm probably just gonna stick with the Rugrats one. I might do segments of them, like, so I recorded like a whole video of it, but I might just do like the Angelica one, the Rugrats one, and then I'll probably even do like the Scooby-Doo one or the Pokemon Ash Catch 'em All one. You know, I'll figure out what I'm gonna do one by one, post them one by one, just the ones that I think that are just kind of like more interesting and more like kind of crazy theories. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this, man. Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you next video. I'm gonna go.